All right, let's get into it. Today, we are tackling a crisis that is shaking the NBA to its core, a strategy that's turning the whole league on its head. Teams are actually trying to lose. We're going to break down why, in the 2025-26 season, failing on purpose somehow became the smartest move in the game, and what the NBA is thinking about doing to stop it.
It all really kicked off with this number, $500,000. That's the massive fine the NBA slapped on the Utah Jazz because they kept benching their perfectly healthy star players. I mean, this was supposed to be a huge warning shot. But as we're about to see, when you're chasing a superstar that can change your franchise forever, a $500,000 fine, that's just the cost of doing business.
And look, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some media hot take. The problem got so bad that the league's own commissioner, Adam Silver, came right out and said it. The system is failing. You know things are serious when the guy in charge admits the rules are completely broken.
So what does it even mean when almost a third of the entire league decides that losing is actually better than winning? This whole situation has been called the losing epidemic. Let's dive into what this strategy, which everybody calls tanking, really is, and why it completely took over the league.
So yeah, they're calling it the tanking epidemic. And to put it simply, it's exactly what it sounds like. Teams losing games on purpose. Now, this isn't about a team having a bad night or a rough stretch. No, this is a calculated, strategic plan to be bad, all to game the system for a huge payoff down the road.
So the big question is, why now? Why did this all blow up this season? Well, it was basically a perfect storm. The 2026 draft class is just legendary, loaded with guys who can change a franchise overnight. We're talking names like AJ Divansa and Cameron Boozer. With so many teams desperate to get one of those top picks, this toxic idea took hold. It is way better to be at the very, very bottom than stuck in the middle. Being average became the absolute worst place you could be in the NBA.
But this whole strategy, it's not just some quirky loophole that teams are exploiting. Losing on purpose has real consequences. It creates this ripple effect that damages the league's integrity, its players, and of course, its fans. Let's really look at the high cost of this strategic failure. And you can really see how the damage just spreads out from there. It starts with the fans, right? People who pay good money for tickets and feel like they're being cheated out of a real competition. It hurts the young players on those teams who have to grow up in a culture where losing is accepted, even encouraged. And, crucially, it threatens the league's multi-billion-dollar business by hurting TV deals and totally messing with the integrity of sports betting. I mean, every single game is supposed to matter, right? So, faced with this full-blown epidemic, the NBA's competition committee knew it had a huge problem on its hands. They realized that just tweaking the rules wasn't going to cut it. No, they had to think big. I mean, they started exploring some truly revolutionary ideas that would fundamentally change the entire league. And two major ideas floated to the top. On one side, you've got this idea for a lottery tournament, where the teams that don't make the playoffs would actually have to win games to get a top draft pick. And on the other side, something even crazier, just get rid of the draft completely. Let the best young players sign with any team they want, just like free agents.
Okay, so of those two wild ideas, the one that's really getting some serious buzz is the lottery tournament. The idea is to literally force teams to compete for their future. But make no mistake, it's a massive gamble that could completely reshape the league. So let's really dive into how this new path to the top pick might actually work.
The main goal here? It's actually super simple but so powerful. Restore competitive integrity. The whole point is to completely kill the reason to lose. In a system like this, every single game, even for the teams that are way out of the playoff hunt, would suddenly mean something huge.
And you know, the potential upside here is just massive. Think about it. All of a sudden, those meaningless late-season games in March and April, they matter. You get fans re-engaged, you protect those betting markets. But most importantly, you're appealing directly to the players themselves. Athletes are wired to compete. This system finally rewards that instinct instead of telling them to just give up.
It sounds great, right? A perfect solution to a huge problem. But Is it really? The more you dig into the details, the more potential cracks you start to see.
Because this new system, it could end up creating a whole new can of worms. What if the slightly better teams, the ones that just miss the playoffs, end up dominating this tournament every single year? The truly terrible teams could get stuck in a rebuilding cycle that never ends. Plus, you open the door to new problems like teams trying to manipulate matchups, and you're asking players to deal with more fatigue and a higher risk of injury.
So, to deal with these very real problems, people started floating this idea of a hybrid model. The goal is to keep the awesome competitive spirit of the tournament, but also make sure you're giving the league's worst teams a legit, fair shot.
So how would that actually work? Well, the idea is to level the playing field by giving the absolute worst teams a little bit of a leg up. Maybe that means they get guaranteed home court advantage throughout the tournament. Or maybe you even give them automatic buys, so they skip the first round or two. The point is to make sure they don't get immediately crushed by a much better team. So all of this, it brings the entire league to this massive crossroads. And the choice they make next isn't just about the draft lottery, it's about the soul of the league. It's going to define the philosophy of the NBA for years and years to come.
And hey, remember that other wild idea, abolishing the draft? Well, while it would definitely solve tanking overnight, it comes with this one giant fear. And this quote really nails it. The critics are terrified that without a draft, the best prospects would just sign with teams in big markets like LA or New York. It could completely destroy competitive balance and just cripple the smaller franchises forever. For a lot of people, that's just too big of a risk to take.
So when you strip it all down, this is the fundamental choice the NBA is facing. Do you stick with the traditional system, which, let's be honest, rewards losing on purpose with a chance at a superstar, or do you move to a brand new, winning mandate where you have to earn that exact same opportunity through pure competitive effort?
And that leaves all of us with this final massive question. In the end, what is more important for the future of the NBA? Is it guaranteeing opportunity for the worst teams, even if that sometimes means rewarding losing? Or is it demanding competition at all costs from every team every single night? The league's next move is going to be its answer.